Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the roads to emergency preparedness, Q&A style. These are your questions. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm going to go through them, give you the best answer that I can with them, and we'll just kind of answer your questions as best as I can. Little informal thing. Okay, so starting off. I watched your previous survival video with you in the Marine. Why do people like you have so little in your bags? Is it overconfidence at play? It's not overconfidence, it's confidence. There's this weird curve that happens. When you start spending a lot of time outdoors, you initially, you get out there and you want something. And eventually you start getting all of this different equipment to carry with you. And then you get to the point where you don't want to lug all of that stuff. So rather than having a bunch of equipment, you learn how to do as much as possible with as little as possible. Knowledge weighs nothing. It's much easier to carry. So your outdoor kit, it gets larger and then it shrinks. Both of us have spent a whole lot of time outdoors, and both of us have a lot of instruction on it. So that's overconfidence. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I live in Arizona. What kind of food can I keep in my car that won't go bad? What about water? Yeah, that's we run into a similar issue here because of the heat. Okay, so in the survival video that's mentioned here, in the first question, we're going through like pre-packed emergency bags in one part of the video, and I'm taking stuff out of them, and I'm basically showing that none of those, total emergency kits are complete. In it, there's quite a few of them where I pull out this orange brick of food. It's like wrapped in foil. That's what you need. It's not designed for your car. It's actually designed for like life rafts and stuff like that. It is it's very resistant to heat. Now, the reason I'm making fun of it in the videos, I'll go ahead and tell you this, it tastes horrible. It's just like this rock hard brick. But it will keep you alive. So if you have to go out in the desert a lot, maybe throw some under your seat. As far as water, you have issues there. Your best bet is probably that canned water company. It's not cheap. It's like, I want to say it's like $36 for a 24 pack or something. But I want to say it's called Blue Can Water, Blue Can, something like that. Just search for canned survival water and look for the one with the blue packaging. I think that their heat tolerance is up to 140 degrees. So that's probably going to be your best bet, but double check that. Yeah. That's trying to keep food and water in something that gets really hot is hard, and those are really your only options. Despite the fact that food is, well, you'll try it. But the good news is it's relatively inexpensive, and it's good for like 5 years at a time, so you don't have to rotate it out. Okay, for urban suburban prepping for, say, a possible severe economic fluctuation, how would you modify standard supplies with an eye to urban environments, power grid reliance for cooking, dense populations, and apartment dweller safety concerns? Power grid reliance for cooking. Yeah, that won't work. You can't do that. You have to find an alternative. I'm assuming you're saying that because you can't have a grill. Got you. Okay. So there are these battery packs. I have one that came with the solar generator. In fact, it is the solar generator. But Duracell, I think Energizer makes one too. They're basically just giant rechargeable batteries, and they pack enough juice to run like small appliances. So maybe get one of those if you can find one that isn't horribly expensive. I can tell you right now, if I had to pay full price for the one that I have, I wouldn't have it. Look for one of those, and then you can use that to like plug in like a flat top grill. It probably wouldn't run a microwave, I don't think, just because of the amount of energy it pulls. But you could use the flat top grill to boil water, stove, all of that stuff. All of the other stuff, pretty simple. Just try to gear everything as compact, because you probably don't have a lot of space, and as mobile as possible. Make sure you have something that you can load all of your stuff up in, because you may have to change locations. Okay. I've been gently peer pressuring friends and family to keep a well-stocked emergency kit around, and have been using your good advice of reasoning it is for a possible interruption of services rather than going off on how the sky is falling. Yeah, that's good. Any other advice you might have to coax them into making it more of a priority? Now, looking forward to another heat dome here, and it's going to be fire season soon. Okay, so if you've talked to somebody about it and you've used like the logical, these are things that happen in our areas, you should be prepared for it conversation, and it doesn't go anywhere, you may have to step outside of the norm. Things that I have seen work, make it fun in a like bizarre way. Rather than talking about actual emergencies, talk about zombies. I've seen that work. I have seen people literally trick people into getting what they need. Somebody was just absolutely resistant to doing anything to prepare for some kind of emergency. However, one of their hobbies included a need to have a good first aid kit. And you start with the little stuff. Find something that they're interested in that you can help frame it around. What's your EDC knife? For those that don't know, EDC is everyday carry, a Spyderco. I actually have a couple. I just grab whichever one. There's personal preference. There's no real specific reason for that other than it's a good compact folding knife that I can carry just about wherever. So I'm in an area of the East Coast that has not seen a lot of bad weather yet. I recently purchased some things that would be good in an emergency. Wind-up flashlights and an emergency radio with a charger, a large bucket with hazmat bags for a restroom, water purifier, portable grill that can use coal or wood, and other basic stuff. My parents and others acted like I was panicking or were doomsday prepping with these basic things. It's only a matter of time before we have a natural or other disaster due to global warming or weird weather, just lost utilities or whatever, electrical grids, water purification sites, etc. Don't get updated much. I plan on doing even more when we get to our house. Right now we're just renting. I'm not digging out a bunker or anything. How do I convince others that I'm not crazy for thinking this is this way, and to get them to take it more seriously? There's a whole lot of people you're going to run into that they think it's ridiculous until they need it. This is one of those things. When did Noah build the ark? Before the rain. You have to have this stuff together. If you're up in that area, maybe bring up Sandy, Hurricane Sandy, and talk about how long people were without because of that. The stuff you have here, yeah, you're right. This is super basic. This is stuff that if your power goes down for 3 days, you're gonna need. I I'm gonna guess that you live in an urban area, so some of this maybe it seems a little bit more odd, but yeah, this is all very normal stuff. I would try again the base reasoning of why people need it, what happens when they don't have it. If that doesn't work, try something fun, try something off the wall. But again, when when you start putting stuff together for emergencies, just remember it's for an emergency. The reason the National Guard has to come in so often is because people aren't prepared. And when it comes to this topic, don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from. Do you have any suggestions for cabinet latches or other things for preparing your house for weather or earthquake emergencies? I've never actually thought about that. That's not something we really have to worry about here. If the weather is bad enough where I live, the types of strong weather that we have, if you're worrying about the cabinets like opening, your house is you're going to be getting new cabinets anyway. Like that's one of the things about hurricanes. Either your house makes it or it doesn't. I would look not for something for emergencies. I would look for stuff for childproofing your home. I would look for that because those are probably built to a better standard than anything that is purpose built for emergencies. That's where I would start trying to find something for that. I never even thought about that though. That would be annoying in an earthquake to have like everything fall out on you. Let's see. I've watched some of your other preparedness videos, and the list of 5 things mostly makes sense, but why the knife? I assume if I'm ever in that situation, I'll figure it out. Yeah. But it seems better to know ahead of time. I'm guessing that the answer is that it's a useful hand tool, but there's plenty of other hand tools that'd be useful, and none of them get a spot. Okay, so that list: food, water, fire, shelter, first aid kit, knife. Okay. First, that's the minimum. If you wanted to add like a small toolkit, pretty smart. I keep one in my car. That's just your absolute base. You will always need a cutting instrument of some kind. It doesn't matter. Try to go a day without one, just in a normal situation, and then think about having to open. Let's say if it's an emergency, you get help from the National Guard even. They come and take care of the food for you. You have to open that package. And they're not always easy to open. You may need to tie something down, and you may need to cut rope. When you're putting your shelter together, you're probably going to need to fasten something. It is one of those things that when you're in the situation, you'll definitely be glad you have it. Okay. What's the number one thing people should have before being in a survival situation? Curiosity and an internet connection. Again, knowledge weighs nothing. Knowledge is lighter than any equipment you can get. Downloading like a survival manual, and assuming that the Internet Archive is still up, archive.org. You can find most of them for free and just download them because they're military field manuals, and you paid for it. So yeah, it is. It's a matter of having the knowledge more than having the equipment. If you're talking about the items you need, food, water, fire. Fire would include like flashlights, anything to create a fire to cook, but also to be able to see. Food, water, fire, shelter, first aid kit, your meds if you need meds, your dog, your pet meds if they need them, and a knife. Okay, emergency preparedness. What's an odd, unusual, unexpected item that everyone should have? Rubber bands, super glue, WD-40. Yeah, all of that is good. I think the strangest thing that I always keep on hand is applicatorless tampons. They are wonderful kindling to actually get a fire started. You can fluff them out. They work very, very well, and because they're compressed, they don't take up a lot of space in your bag. And they're also, obviously, they're absorbent. There's a whole bunch of other things that they can be used for. All right. What kind of book should I get? U.S. Army Survival Guide. Start there. It's downloadable for free. And then from there, I would look for, edible plants that are in your area for your region, be able to identify those, little stuff like that. Again, it depends on what you're preparing for. But a survival guide and a really good first aid manual, maybe a Woofer textbook would be good. Why is some of your stuff in packaging in the survival video? Yeah, I leave some stuff in boxes, or like I have a pack of lighters that is still in the package it came from the store. So one of the key things about survival, especially if you're talking about not just like sheltering in your home for a normal emergency, but like you're going out in the woods type of thing, it's a mindset of being able to use everything for something. And as an example, the plastic from around that lighter container, you could use that to put a little bit of peanut butter in for a snare so it's not sitting on the ground so the ants don't come in, or it takes them a little bit longer to get there. There's like a lot of little stuff that you can use the packaging for. The plastic bags, that useless plastic packaging that you often find in stuff, you can use that to carry water. You could poke holes in it and maybe even make a net with it. You have to be able to improvise with stuff like that. So generally, when it comes to stuff that doesn't have to come out of the package, I don't take it out until I absolutely need it. What should be in an IFAK, an individual first aid kit? Okay, so that's one of those questions I get a lot, and I answer it and then say that it's the wrong question. Okay, so dressing, tourniquet, chest seals, shears, something to get an airway, tape. Now the real question, do you know how to use that stuff? One of the things that happens, especially with medical equipment, is people will get a first aid kit and get a good one, but they won't know how to use it. My advice when it comes to that is to get the best training that you can get wherever you're at, and then get a kit that is equal to your skill. Having the stuff and knowing how to use it are two very, very different things. It is much better to know how to use it because if need be, you can improvise the supplies. You can improvise a chest seal out of plastic packaging if need be. You can't learn how to do it on the fly in a situation if you don't have access to anything that can teach you. So the standard kits that you buy that are actually labeled as IFAK, and they come in the little Molly pouch, most of those actually have pretty much everything that you need. It's one of the few emergency preparedness related items that normally they come well stocked. You customize it to your liking. Like I will always add like way more gauze than can ever humanly be used because one time I didn't have enough, and I will never be in that situation again. But most of them come with what you need. But before you really can use it, you have to have the training. Okay. Not sure if this really fits. I've got a young guy at work who's a lefty, and he's one of those that thinks things have to get way worse before they get better. And he talks about war all the time. He doesn't know I pulled 2 in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. How do I tell him that there has to be a better way? When you were talking about those people who kind of romanticize the idea of conflict, some of it's just age. Some of it is never having seen it for real. They feel like they're desensitized to it because they see it on screens. The only thing that I have ever actually seen work, and keep in mind I have seen this tried multiple times and I've only seen it work twice, is actually kind of teaching them, but not really. You can pull footage right now, especially with everything going on in Ukraine. There's a lot of footage that's available. And you show them clips and ask, why did this person get hit? And the first few, show them clips where the person obviously made a mistake, where they stood up when they shouldn't have, they stepped somewhere they shouldn't have, things like that. And then show them some where they didn't do anything wrong. In fact, recently on Twitter, there was footage of some Ukrainian soldiers, and they were clearing a house, and they're going up these stairs. And it's the bad kind of stairs, it's the stairs with the curve in it and the open spot, up to your left. And they're probably halfway up that second portion when a Russian soldier opens up on them. 2 of them get hit. If you look in the comments and in the replies under that video, you will see tons of people trying to figure out what they did wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. A lot of people have a view of it that, if you do everything right, if you find the right set of buttons to push, you'll make it through this level. A lot of them don't understand that sometimes you can do everything right and still not make it back. I think that's one lesson that might be helpful. But I know it's absolutely frustrating because generally speaking, the people who have adopted that mindset, they're super dedicated. And if they would commit to something else, if they would put the same amount of energy into actively trying to stop, that from happening and addressing issues or just local organizing or whatever, it would be amazingly effective. But it's really hard to get them out of that mindset once they're in it. Another clip that you might want to show them is the footage of the cops that came out of the school out there in Texas. These are people who, they've seen traffic accidents, they've seen all kinds of things, and they've been desensitized, via screens the same way everybody thinks they have. Reality hits different when you slip in it. And seeing them coming out sobbing and throwing up, it might be useful. There are a lot of people that definitely romanticize conflict to a level that just doesn't make any sense. That's the only thing I've ever seen work, though, is actually showing them that it's not a thing where if you make the right move, you're guaranteed to make it. It's not a video game. The right combination of moves doesn't get you through. Sometimes it's just luck. Let's see. You once wrote an article I can't find anymore where you went into a Walmart and built a survival kit from scratch. Dollar General. But yeah, I remember it. The website doesn't exist anymore. Can you do a video like that and at Target if I can be picky? I was at Target like 3 days ago. Yeah, I can try to do that. I can try to do that again. The purpose of doing it at the Dollar General was to show that it can be done very, very inexpensively. Target, it's definitely more expensive than Dollar General. But yeah, I can try to put something together like that. Let's see. I know it would be hard with your production schedule of 8 videos per day, but have you ever thought about doing a video over a couple of days where you actually do everything survival related? So on this channel, we have a survival video where we demonstrate a lot of stuff. One of the things that you run into is the way you would really do it, like let's say fishing. Okay, if you were to fish the way you would fish in a survival situation using nets and doing a lot of things, and you made a video about it and you put it online, Fish and Wildlife would show up at your house. This has actually been a topic on how we can do this and remain within the confines of what you're actually allowed to do. Because in a survival situation, a lot of the rules and regulations that govern your behavior in normal civilized society do not exist. And when we did the one that's on this channel, we were actually we brought all this stuff to do the snares, and then we realized if we did that, it wouldn't be very useful unless we showed how to prepare it, which is not something I would want to put on my channel. There's a lot of kids, and there's a lot of people who don't eat meat who would not be appreciative of that just showing up in a video that they were watching. So there's a lot of limitations to it, but this is something we've been actively trying to find a way to do. So maybe if we can figure out how to do it. Let's see. This might sound weird, but I learned a lot from that video watching you go through the pre-packed bug-out bags. Watching you quickly rate stuff as garbage or useful was informative. Could you do that again at some point and let us see the items up close and tell us why things are good or bad? I'm sure the homeless people would appreciate it. Yeah, we can do that again. I'll do that in the same video when we do the Target thing. And that last line, for anybody that doesn't know, we went through a bunch of pre-packed emergency bags, and then when we were done with them, we gave them to people who were sleeping rough and would definitely be able to use it. But yeah, we can do that. And yeah, I will explain why rather than this is cool, this is garbage, so on and so forth. Okay, so that actually looks like all the questions, unless I skipped a frame here. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so there's the Q&A for that. We have more of these coming because y'all sent in a whole bunch of questions over the last 30 days. I know that I have like 3 or 4 sets of questions for videos, so I will try to get to them as soon as possible. There's just a whole lot of news. If everybody could stop trying to, coup each other or get arrested or whatever, it would be super helpful. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.